Okay, so there's just some of the things that we're aware of that happen in our society. We'll come to look a little, and all I'm doing is trying to give you a little idea of some of the things that are in this encyclical, just to help us to understand what Benedict is putting before us and the challenges, therefore, that come from it. He talks about how this blind or selfish pursuit of profits over ethics has become detrimental to people and the planet, where all people are concerned about, and we've heard a lot about that in recent times because of the economy that has been driven by people's greed. But because people haven't been concerned about the ethics that we should be living by, and all that they're concerned about is that selfish pursuit of profits. And maybe it was highlighted right at the beginning when the whole American economy started to collapse, and the car manufacturers, and they were flying to Washington, each in their own private jets, asking for handouts from the government. You know? And that was highlighted. It was news all over the world, and they didn't seem to see that anything sort of wrong with it, or that it was out of balance. But all on the same day, flying down from Chicago to Washington in their private jets, asking for a handout. And there'd be many other companies and organisations and multinational companies where there has been that blind and selfish pursuit of profit. So he talks about that, something that we need to all look at. It comes at a time too, a key time for the development of people, because he talks about decades of progress are at risk because of what is happening, because of this first one. So the decades of progress, and that's the progress that Paul VI talked about in Popularum Progressio. And while we might say, and while the media might be telling us today that we're coming out of the economic recession, we can clearly look at the people who are affected, say here in our own country, and say, well, are they coming out of it? Because it takes a long time for that money to filter down and those people to feel that they are no longer struggling. And we all know people who, in our own parishes and communities, who really do struggle to make ends meet. And so he offers some concrete steps that policymakers should explore to put us back on the path to true development. And some of that will come a little bit later. And that might seem like too much for us. Well, that's for the policymakers. But if we're aware of some of those kind of things, we do have the opportunity. People say sometimes, well, we don't have the opportunity to influence government policy. But we actually, with our system, we were able to make submissions to select committees. We do have an opportunity to influence policy. And we know that in many of the select committees that some of our organisations, Caritas, some of our own diocesan organisations, and Nathaniel Centre, when they've gone to select committees, government select committees, they have really taken some notice because of the fact that much of the information comes from really sound principles and really good thinking that's gone on in the church for years, and it's not just someone thinking that this would be a good idea. There's some very good background behind it. So we do have, and we have wonderful people who can use those resources and help groups to make submissions to select committees so that we can have some influence on policies that are put in place. And it reminds us that finance and business can work for all people and not just for the shareholder. And that it clearly is something that anyone, well, and all of us, should be concerned about. How do we make things in our society? How do we make business? How do we make our towns, our whatever our structures are in society, work for the good of all people? So there's an incredible amount in this about the common good, which of course is so much part of our own social justice teachings, which has been a treasure that we've had for many, many years. gives a model based on that collective unity, which is a key to choosing the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And so, and the key there, of course, is that collectivity, that people coming together for the common good, not just for a small group of people, but people working, and so many of our things in our parishes, we have things, just I suppose small examples, but our school system with our Catholic Education Common Fund, where attendance dues are pooled so that one school's not getting more than another. Our CDF, where people put in their funds so that we can help parishes and schools, etc., at a much lower interest rate. So it's all there. It's really about the common good.